Alright, so I have my super brights done, I have my super darks done, I have my other dark values done, but I'm still missing a lot of values in the rest of this. So today focus on basically, do you need to keep adding a couple more lighter, like darker areas, but obviously they're lighter, or is it that you need to kind of work on the bleach? Now I will say that this is not, as you know, watercolor obviously can move with water. That means it can move with a liquid, which means it can move with bleach. So if you decide to work with the bleach in an area that's around or near the black, please remember that it will probably move a little bit if you're not careful. So I would just be very, very cautious and work very carefully as you go through that. So I actually have more darker areas that I need to focus on, and that might be what you need to do too. So again, I'm going to have the lid of my watercolor palette. I have that full of black paint once again, and I'll be using that to work on this. So the first thing I've noticed as I was looking at this is I need to actually come down here and add in more to my my tab. And again, the nice thing is, because again it's watercolor, it's a liquid, I can actually just pull some of the color that I had already had there without having to really basically go crazy with my brush again. So let's work on that there. And I also have some down along the bottom. So I'm going to turn my paper. I'm actually going to make this a little bit darker. A little too light for what I need. And then I need to come in along the top. Again, the key is just to be really cautious as you add in, regardless of what you're trying to work with, because obviously the black can run, the bleach can run, and it will move for sure if you are trying to, work with the bleach in areas that are really close to the black. So just be aware of that. So this area right over here, I need to add, and then I definitely totally forgot about this spot down here. This is a lot darker, so I am adding more just straight black into this spot specifically. So as you focus on your work for today, one of the things you can try to do is, if you notice like an area that I have, for instance right here, the inside where it's a little bit faded, the lines are not hard, I'm just coming in and I dipped my brush in water, but then I wiped it off on my hand just so I didn't have a ton of water sitting on my brush. I'm going to do the same thing again, and I'm just basically going to create like a fade for that black to just kind of keep running itself out. So again, you're focusing today possibly whether it's bleach, whether it's the paint, whatever it is. But one of the things you want to make sure, you can do a little bit of both. However, you just have to make sure it's fully dry before you start working on it. If it's not fully dry, it will run and it will completely ruin your piece. So don't try to do both at the same time because it will not work. So I'm just going to add this in right here, as I see. But obviously, for the most part, this lid is actually going to stay red. There are some areas, for instance, right inside that I do need to add some paint. And so that's what I'm going to be working on actually right now. So I have these details surrounding just to the inside. I'm just trying to find a line first. So I kind of have like this dark line that I want it to be a little bit darker than what I have right now. So just take some more paint, go right over top of that. And that little, basically that little water droplet that I had, I'm dragging it back and forth right now just to spread it out evenly so it doesn't dry funky. Now I'm going to take, again, the paint from my lid and I'm going to apply it to this large section that's a shadow. Not really a shadow, it's actually one of the ripples of the, like how the metal kind of folds along the top. I'm going to work on painting that in. Again, so if it's a darker value, so like your 6 through 10 values, that's what you basically can use the paint for, which is really nice because now you can at least really control your darks a little bit more than obviously when you were working on the black paper. You really had to control everything that you were doing, which could have been a little tricky. So again, I'm going to come in here right now for that part. Once again, just going to go over everything there. Pretty happy with that. So now I'm going to come down lower, trying to understand the lines that I made. Again, if you decide to work with the black, make sure that you don't have a ton of water on your brush, just to ensure that you don't end up with puddles or too much bubbling kind of going on. And now for the second one, just going with that. I had it drawn in here, but I'm confusing myself with my lines that I made. I'm going to repaint it in. So once again, I'm focusing on just those values that I see there. Then I have also one down a little bit here that I want to add in. Comes in a little bit, like so. And I have this little tiny shadow from something that's on the can lid. So I actually need to probably bleach a part of that out as well. So right now, again, I'm looking at where do I need to still add some values to. So I'm going to kind of watch my hand a little bit so I don't get it in the way. So right down here, I need it to be a little bit lighter than what I had. So hopefully this is about the right value that I need. It's close. I need this to come down and come in here. So I'm going to add some of that in. When I do go over an area that I have painted, I do like to take my brush over that whole area, just so that way I can't see my paint lines, like my brush strokes, just in case they show up. So now I'm actually going to wipe off some of my brush, and once again I'm going to pull some of that color out as well, so I don't have any hard lines there either. So just it wets the paper right now, but it doesn't do anything really. It just allows that paint to kind of bleed out a little bit. So it looks like that, like so. So again, I'm going to keep looking to see wherever else I need to add, but you can see how this is now starting to actually look a little bit more like a can. So I need to come over here on this side, and again, just keep touching up in some places.